Your fuel injectors are the unsung heroes of your engine, spraying precisely metered fuel into those combustion chambers thousands of times every minute. When they work perfectly, you barely notice them. When they fail, your engine stumbles, your fuel economy tanks, and you are suddenly staring at repair bills that make your wallet cry. Most people do not think about fuel injectors until something goes wrong, and by then they are usually desperate enough to pay whatever the dealership quotes them. I have been working on engines for over 15 years, and I have watched the fuel injector market explode with cheap options that promise original equipment quality at a fraction of the price. Most of them are garbage. Poorly machined internals, inconsistent spray patterns, materials that corrode within months. I have pulled injectors out of engines that were supposed to be brand new replacements, only to find they were already failing after 6,000 miles. The customer thought they saved money, but they ended up paying twice when those budget injectors destroyed their fuel economy and triggered check engine lights that would not quit. But here is what the industry does not want you to know. Hidden among the mountains of junk injectors are absolute diamonds that cost a fraction of what you would pay at the dealership. These are not knockoffs or inferior copies. They are legitimate alternatives manufactured with proper quality control, using materials that actually hold up to the brutal conditions inside a modern engine. The problem is finding them. Most mechanics will not tell you about these options because they make more money selling you overpriced factory parts with massive markups. Dealerships certainly will not mention them because their entire business model depends on you believing that only factory parts are safe for your vehicle. Today I am exposing 3 fuel injectors that everyone ignores because they are cheap. But these 3 are absolute gold mines for anyone who wants quality without the ridiculous price tag. The third injector I'm going to show you has been running in fleet vehicles for hundreds of thousands of miles with 0 failures. The second one comes from a manufacturer that supplies major automakers but sells direct to consumers at wholesale prices most people do not know exist. And the first one is so underrated that professional tuners have been quietly using it for years while the general public keeps overpaying for branded alternatives. These are not injectors I am recommending because some company paid me to talk about them. These are parts I have personally installed, tested, and watched perform over years of real-world use. I have seen what happens inside engines running these injectors at 50,000 miles, 100,000 miles, and beyond. The results surprised me, and they will probably surprise you too. Let's get into it. The first cheap fuel injector everyone ignores is the Bosch EV14 series aftermarket equivalent. Now, before you click away thinking this is just another generic injector recommendation, hear me out. The EV14 platform is arguably the most successful fuel injector design in modern automotive history. Bosch developed it and licensed the technology to multiple manufacturers, which means you can find EV14 pattern injectors from a dozen different suppliers at wildly different price points. The secret that most people miss is that several overseas manufacturers produce EV14 equivalents using the exact same specifications and materials as the genuine Bosch units. The spray angle is the same, the flow rate tolerances are the same, the internal coil resistance is the same everything. The difference is they do not carry the Bosch name on the housing, so they sell for 40 to 60% less. I first discovered this about 8 years ago when a customer came in with a turbocharged 4-cylinder that needed injector upgrades. He could not afford the $800 set of genuine Bosch injectors I quoted him, so he found a set online for $300. I told him he was making a mistake. I warned him about cheap injectors and inconsistent flow rates and all the problems I had seen over the years. He installed them anyway. 6 months later, he came back for an unrelated service, and I asked about the injectors. No problems. A year later, still running perfectly. 2 years, 3 years, the same injectors kept working flawlessly. I started paying attention. I pulled one of his injectors and sent it out for flow testing. The results came back within 2% of the advertised flow rate across all 4 injectors. That is a tighter tolerance than some genuine OEM injectors I have tested. What I learned is that these manufacturers are not cutting corners on the important stuff. They are saving money by skipping the marketing budgets, the fancy packaging, the brand licensing fees. The actual injector internals are manufactured on the same CNC equipment, using the same grade stainless steel with the same quality control processes. Some of these factories literally supply parts to major automakers for their assembly lines, then sell the same parts under generic branding through different distribution channels. The key is knowing what to look for. You want injectors that specifically state EV14 compatibility with documented flow rates that match your application. You want sellers who provide flow data, not just advertised specifications, but actual test results showing the injectors were matched and balanced before shipping. Any reputable supplier will provide this documentation because it costs them almost nothing to include, and it separates them from the true garbage sellers who have no idea what they are shipping. I have installed these EV14 equivalents in everything from daily drivers to weekend track cars. The spray pattern is identical to genuine Bosch. The atomization quality is identical, the response time is identical. The only difference is the logo stamped on the injector body and about $300 in your pocket. The second fuel injector goldmine that everyone overlooks is the Delphi Multec series, specifically the aftermarket rebuilds and equivalents. Delphi has been manufacturing fuel injection systems since the technology became mainstream, and the Multec platform powers millions of vehicles worldwide. What most people do not realize is that Delphi parts end up in aftermarket channels at steep discounts through several legitimate pathways. First, there is the remanufactured route. Delphi injectors are rebuilt by specialized facilities that replace all wear components while retaining the original housings and precision machined internals. These are not shade tree rebuilds with questionable parts. These are factory-authorized remanufacturing operations that follow strict protocols and test every single injector before shipping. A remanufactured Delphi injector costs roughly half what a new unit costs, and in many cases, the remanufactured unit is actually more reliable because it has been individually tested rather than spot-checked on an assembly line. Second, Delphi manufactures injectors for vehicle brands that then sell them under their own part numbers with significant markups. When you buy a replacement injector from certain dealerships, you are literally buying a Delphi injector in a different box at twice the price. The aftermarket Delphi branded version is identical in every way that matters. Same factory, same specifications, same materials. The only difference is the distribution channel and the logo on the invoice. I had a fleet customer running delivery vans who was burning through injectors every 60,000 miles buying the cheapest options available. The failure pattern was always the same: internal seal degradation, spray pattern deterioration, and eventually leaking injectors that caused rich running conditions and fouled spark plugs. We switched the entire fleet to remanufactured Delphi Multec injectors, and the failure rate dropped to nearly zero. 3 years later, those same injectors are still in service with no issues. The per-vehicle savings was over $400 just on injector costs, not counting the reduced downtime and eliminated secondary damage from failing injectors. The Multec design uses a ball and seat valve configuration that provides excellent sealing and consistent spray patterns even after extended service life. The internal components are designed for the harsh chemical environment inside a fuel system, where modern fuel blends can attack lesser materials and cause swelling or degradation. Delphi's engineering team spent decades refining these injectors for durability, and that engineering does not disappear just because you are buying through an aftermarket channel instead of a dealership parts counter. The third fuel injector that flies completely under the radar is the ACDelco Professional Series for General Motors applications, and the principle applies across brands. ACDelco is General Motors' parts division, and they manufacture replacement injectors that meet or exceed original equipment specifications. The Professional Series represents their premium tier, built to the same standards as factory-installed components, but sold through aftermarket distribution at prices that undercut dealership parts departments by 30 to 40%. This is a gold mine. ACDelco injectors are not third-party equivalents or reverse-engineered copies. They are manufactured by the same suppliers who build injectors for General Motors assembly lines, using the same tooling, the same materials, the same processes, the same everything. The only reason they cost less is because they are packaged for the aftermarket rather than the dealer network. When you buy through a dealership, you are paying for the dealer's overhead, their parts department staff, and their profit margin on top of General Motors' profit margin. When you buy ACDelco Professional Series through an auto parts store or an online retailer, you cut out several layers of markup while getting an identical product. I worked with a customer who owned a small used car lot and needed injectors for a late model pickup he was reconditioning. The dealership quoted him over $600 for a set of 8 injectors. I showed him the ACDelco Professional Series option through a standard auto parts supplier. Same injectors, same part specifications, under $400. He did not believe me at first. He thought there had to be a catch, some quality difference or a compatibility issue that would come back to bite him. I pulled up the technical specifications for both part numbers. They were identical in every measurable way. Same flow rate, same resistance, same connector style, same spray pattern angle. That truck sold with those ACDelco injectors installed. The buyer came back a year later for unrelated service and mentioned the truck was running great. The best fuel economy he had ever gotten from that engine. He had no idea the injectors were not the dealership branded parts because there was literally no difference in how they performed. The ACDelco Professional Series covers a massive range of General Motors applications spanning multiple decades. Whether you are working on a classic truck with throttle body injection or a modern direct injection engine, there is likely an ACDelco option that matches your OEM specifications at a significant discount. The parts come with proper documentation, industry standard warranties, and the backing of General Motors engineering validation. You are not gambling on an unknown manufacturer hoping they got the specifications right. You are buying from the actual OEM supplier through a different retail channel. These 3 fuel injector options represent genuine opportunities to save serious money without sacrificing quality or reliability. The Bosch EV14 equivalents leverage one of the most proven injector platforms ever developed. The Delphi Multec remanufactured and aftermarket options tap into decades of fuel injection expertise from a Tier 1 supplier. The ACDelco Professional Series gives you actual OEM parts at aftermarket prices. Each option has been tested, validated, and proven in real-world applications across hundreds of thousands of miles. The common thread connecting all 3 is understanding that price does not always correlate with quality in the auto parts world. Sometimes you are paying for a brand name. Sometimes you are paying for a dealer's overhead. Sometimes you are paying a premium simply because you do not know better alternatives exist. The fuel injector market is flooded with genuine garbage that will destroy your engine and waste your money. But hidden among the junk are legitimate options that deliver OEM quality at a fraction of the cost. You just have to know where to look.